But today I'm going to talk about the best game in the world, which is the game of business. And I think this is now my fourth event to speak with Adam. So I'm super excited because a lot has changed even since the last event and from last year. I think it was this time last year that I'd done these similar slides, and a lot has changed since then. So quick intro on why I'm here, because I'm really good friends with Adam. We've spent a lot of time together, and there was even more photos in here that I didn't add in. But you know, we've traveled the world together. We've been to many different events and shared a lot of experiences with different friends and fitness and business and everything in between. And there's been ups and downs, but it's really important that when you find friends in the game that you really spend your time with them and invest in relationships. Because me and Adam, anytime we meet up, we normally have to fly somewhere across the world to meet up. So it's really important that if you find someone, if that's someone in this room or someone else, that you really invest time to build strong relationships, because it's just all about who you surround yourself with. And today what I'm going to cover is, I'll just quickly go through a journey and intro for those that maybe don't know what I've done in the past. Then I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about belief and mindset, as I truly believe in the early stages it is the most important thing. Stephen also talked about it, and you'll see that there's a pattern. Everyone is kind of talking about this because it is the most important. Then I'm going to talk about doing the work, what it actually takes, and then I'll go through how to get to 10K per month, how to go from 10 to 50, and then how to break past 80K, which is obviously 7 figures a year, 100K, 150 and beyond per month. Then I'll talk about money, investing, long-term goals, and then we'll do Q&A at the end. I always say this, but if you have a question, if something pops into your head, just make sure you write it down, because you probably forget at the end, okay? Quick journey. I'm gonna go through this really quickly because I honestly don't like spending too much time talking about it. I wanna give value to you guys and share my stories. Not gonna give too much, maybe just a bit of inspiration. Like everyone, I started with a normal job. I was apprentice electrician for years. I was a third year. And while doing this, I'd done this after school, I was also building my first business, which was a clothing brand. I took out over 20K loan from the credit union. I said it was for a car loan so I could buy stock. I didn't know that drop shipping was a thing. I spent thousands and thousands on clothes, and it did work. We got into some stores as well, but it was never really profitable. I sank absolutely everything that I had, all my time and resources into this on top of working a job. But it was true lush that I built a lot of my skills and knowledge. And you know, these are the days where you have to really work the hardest on top of my job and everything else. Then I started a marketing agency. I went to Grant Cardone's 10X and I figured out that you can sell services online. Then I started a marketing agency, went to a bunch of different events, and you'll see that's a common trend here. I go to a lot of events, and I think this is around the time that Adam probably came across me on LinkedIn. And here's me asking Tai Lopez, what does he recommend to leave my 9 to 5? And then it's when I got back from a Tai Lopez event that I then left my job and never went back. Then after that, I built a business called Ecom and Chill. We were helping influencers how to build their own brands and get away from sponsorships and brand deals. I had a business partner in this as well, but then after a couple of years, we transitioned into email for brands, mainly because our last business, Ecom and Chill, was very complex. The economics of the business wasn't great, and I actually just posted a YouTube video where Tai Lopez actually told us that the business model was terrible and it's the worst business he'd recommend. So not long after that then, I pivoted into email for brands. This is what I've done over the last few years. We got to work with people like old Tyson Fury there, and this is another client of ours, Pete. We get to go to their launch parties, and just this is our team here. This is at the end of 2024. For Christmas, everyone's celebrating after a successful Q4. And then also we won the award for Global Email Marketing Company of the Year 2025. That was earlier this year. And then since then we have rebranded and merged with another agency, another fellow Irishman, Adam. And we've now rebranded to Retention for Brands, because the industry is shifting, and that's what's really important, is like, as industries change, you need to be able to shift and adapt and evolve over time. And it's easy when you're in the weeds, but as you get bigger and bigger, it's much harder to pivot. So you need to make sure that you can pivot as the times change. And we're only a couple of months into this, and you know, it's been amazing, a lot of growth so far. We've nearly 30 full-time on the team now, and we even got invited to Tomorrowland VIP from one of our software partners. So it's all fun and games so far. So that's a quick overview. And this is kind of over 8 years, what I've done. And it definitely doesn't happen overnight, but you just have to keep going every single day and you will eventually get there. But at every stage, you know, you realize that, you know, you always want more, you always want more. So you need to make sure you can also be present and enjoy the moment. okay? So next is the belief and the mindset needed to succeed. What I'm going to talk about here is having a victim mentality is one of the worst diseases you can have. And I'll give an example of this. You know, you can either be the creator or you can be the victim. And if you're the creator, you share your reality through belief. What you believe, you become. And really, you know, the world will mirror what you believe. Versus the victim, where people complain about what they've got given, or that life happens to me, or, you know, the world controls what I feel. And I seen this the other day, and this was crazy because I shared this story with Adam. I was in Costa the other day, and I was actually just taking some notes to prep for this event. And this is the first time I've kind of like looked back at these notes, and I took this from a mentor, Taylor. And this guy at Costa was ordering his coffee. The lady asked, "How are you?" And the guy said, "Oh, I'm okay." He's like, "I'm poorer than I want to be." He's like dreaming of one day I'll be rich. And this was just a classic example of someone that's the victim, that can't believe in themselves. And it's so important, especially in the early days, that you can be the creator and you can really believe, you know, that you can achieve these dreams. And that's the most important thing. And it's all about energy and everything else, but it's so important to be the creator. And Stephen, once again, I think you must have been copying my slides. But so your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So this is just really important. And as we go on here, this is like a feedback loop of beliefs, then that turns into experiences, and then that turns into your behavior. And that's just why it's so important to surround yourself with the right people and to make sure that you're around positive people and no negativity. And sometimes, you know, there will be negativity, but you need to avoid it as much as possible. And the people and the environment will influence you so much here. So that's why I invest a lot of time to, you know, travel the world or go to events or hang out with people or be in group chats with people that are doing much better than me. And not just financially, but mentally and, you know, in relationships and spiritually and everything else as well. And it's not just a feedback loop, it's a spiral. And this is something that I've been saying to myself a lot recently, like we're on this upward spiral of positivity really, and just growth and everything else. And you can see that. It's also a double-edged sword where it can be negative as well. So if you're in the negative spiral, it works both ways. So you have to be really careful of that. So why do some people never change? So they accept the external programming and they never make it to self-programming. So this is what most people, this was the guy in Costa the other day, where he never does anything to, you know, really change his internal beliefs, and they never question it. So this is really important, like you only consume what you like. The social media is feeding you the same negative stuff over and over and over again. So it's really important that you can block out all the negativity. Like I said, this can make you become closed-minded, and this takes time to develop, but this is the negative spiral. So if you have poor environment, you will have poor beliefs. And if you have good environment, you will have good beliefs. And like I said, this is powerful, but it's also the double-edged sword. And you must believe in what you can do, and you must be able to see it. So like every night I go to bed, I'm visualizing what I want to achieve. And it's so important that you can have that at every different level. You want to make sure that you can get to that next level, that you can see it. It's so, so important. And I truly believe that belief is the most important. And this is the domino. Like this is why in the early days, you have to make sure that you can achieve it. If that's signing your first client, if that's getting to $2,000 a month, to $5,000 a month, to $10,000 a month, you have to be able to believe it. And it's just literally the most important thing. And this just all starts with your mindset. So just make sure that your mind is strong, that you're able to see where you want to go, and then actions then will follow that. So next we'll talk about doing the work and how it's, you know, really the only way. And this might go against some of the things, Stephen, that you mentioned, but we can chat about that. Once you have the belief, the next thing is to do the work. I recommend, I think I mentioned it the last time, but for everyone to get Rise and track your screen time, because a lot of people will think they work or they work hard or they work a lot, but they probably don't, okay? So I think this is like over the last 6 months, I've spent over 1,100 hours just on my laptop, not including, you know, other time that I spend working, which I'll soon mention here. And I truly believe that as you make more money, you should work more and not work less, okay? There will become seasons where you will work less if you're traveling or if you have a family or if you're going through other things. But I really think that the more you work, the more you will succeed. And it's really, really important. And you don't want to fall into the trap of getting to 5 grand, 10 grand a month, or 20 grand, whatever it really is, and then think you've won. It's really, really important that you keep pushing. And that's how over the last 8 years of being on this entrepreneurial journey that I'm able to just, achieve something, and sometimes I'll fall back down and then set new targets, go again, and just keep working no matter what, because you really have to keep working to achieve it. And I've now spent over 20,000 hours on my laptop, and this doesn't include working on my phone, thinking, journaling, at events, and talking to others about how to achieve my dreams. And it's the same when I go back to the screen time. It was like, over 1,000 hours of screen time in the last 6 months, but that's just on my laptop. That's not including any of these other things. I would say I spend probably 12 to 16 hours a day thinking about business and thinking about how can I get to that next level. And for some people, they mightn't want to do that, but for me, it's what I want to do right now. Maybe there will come a time where I don't enjoy it anymore and I want to do something else, or I want to pivot, or I'll have a family. But for now, it's my obsession really is just becoming the best, achieving greatness really. And if you want it, you need to become obsessed. And I recommend reading Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed or Be Average here. Grant can be controversial in ways, but when it comes to work ethic, when it comes to doing the work, he's a great example. And you can also work 6 hours a day and still operate, but I guarantee if you work more, you will achieve what you want much faster. And I've seen this as well, where right now I'm probably working about 10 hours a day, and coming into Q4, I'll probably work 12 hours, even more. And there's been times where I worked less. Last December and January, I was traveling, I was in Australia, I was traveling around. I worked less, 6 hours a day, but that's just to maintain. If you really want to achieve your goals, you really should work more. And ultimately, it's just about working backwards from your goals. Like if someone you asked me earlier, like what's the number one thing you recommend? It's just like set your goals and then work backwards. But the thing is, like most people, they know what to do, but they just don't do it, okay? They get busy doing something else, or they do everything but the main thing. Like whatever the main thing is, you just need to go do that. And I broke it down in the last talk where there's different parts of your business. But if you're not generating leads, if you're not getting sales, you just need to focus on that. And when you wake up in the morning, just do that. Don't go doing all of the other things that is, just not going to drive the needle forward. You need to do the main thing. And for myself right now, that's hiring. So it's like hiring great people and really focusing on that. Everything else is just noise. And yes, I want to spend all day building other things or focusing on other things, but that's not what needs to get done right now. And it's hard to do because you don't want to do it. It can be, the thing that you're scared of. We need to make sure that you're focused on the main thing. And if you just do that every single day, you put into work and you have that belief, you will achieve what you want. And if you want to speed up the process, focus on one thing for years or even decades. And I just want everyone to know that there's no perfect business model or niche. I've done multiple different businesses now. And if I think back, if I just had to focus on the clothing brand forever, if I'd still been doing that to this day after 8 years, I could be more successful than where I am today. And the same as my second business, same as my third business. Every single business model works. It's just about, is that right for you? When you found that one that is right for you, just make sure that you stick at it and don't do anything else. For now, I get a lot of opportunities. Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to build a brand? What do you want to do coaching? And for me right now, it's just no, I just want to focus on growing our business, growing our agency, and making sure we can get that to where we want it, because, I don't have enough time to even focus on that. Never mind another business, another idea, another niche. So it's really, really important that you focus on the one thing. And I shared a diagram of this before. It's in the book Essentialism, which is units of output. It's if you focus on 10 things versus one thing, there's a massive difference on the output. So now I'll talk a bit more about some of the tactical stuff and more around how I got to 10,000 a month. So this was different for me because I had to do it 3 times with 3 different businesses. But it was very hard for me to get to 10K MRR. I remember myself and Adam speaking where I would hit 10K, 20K, even 30K in the early days, but I didn't have consistent monthly recurring revenue. So I'm gonna go through a couple of things for what you need to do to get to 10K a month. And as I already mentioned, belief is the number one thing here. If you don't believe that you can do it, there's no point even trying. Honestly, it's really, really important that you are so confident that you can achieve it, so confident that you really believe it, and convince everyone around you as well that you're gonna do it. I know my mom, my girlfriend, my family, my friends, they all know that what I want to achieve, I will do it. And if I tell them my goals, they're gonna be 100% certain that I'm gonna do it, because it's the belief, and it's happened over and over and over again. This might be different, but for me, I truly believe you can get to 10K a month with yourself and ideally just a VA to help manage some of your time. So Adam might go through something different and everyone might share, how they got to 10K differently. But for me, it was just to become an expert at the craft and use that to your advantage. And when you're talking to clients or when you're on sales calls or pitching people, they're getting one-on-one experience with you. And this is the best support. Treat these clients the best and get the best case studies and let them pay for you to build your experience. So this is what I done. This was for our email agency, Email for Brands. Like I said, we've many different businesses in the past. But for me, it was like at the start, I was the one doing the service. I was the one involved. And I was using to sell that. Like, oh, you're not going to be working with these big agencies where you're with an account manager. You're getting the one-on-one support from me. And then we just flip it, right? Because obviously, like at every different level, you can leverage your current situation to sell it. But I think becoming the expert is just going to be the most important thing. And the clients are going to pay for you to have that experience. And then at this stage, I got most of my clients from referrals and partnerships. So Paul, who's here, we have a referral partnership, but in those early days, and I think someone mentioned it earlier, like you can post on social media, you can do outreach, like all these strategies work, all these methods work, but I think at the start you just need to focus on one or two and just focus on them. And for me, that was just referral partnerships and, just figuring out who can we partner with so we can provide value to them in exchange for clients and vice versa. And for us, this was different ad agencies, different CRO agencies, and different people inside of the e-commerce niche. So next is how to go from 10K to 50K a month. And I'm going through this pretty quick because I want to do a lot of Q&A at the end, and I want to try and actually force people to ask questions as well so I can break down problems and actually help people. So if you want to get to 10K to 50K, it really depends on your business model, but most of the time you have to build a team here. And for me, that was full-time staff, working with freelancers and getting them to join the team to help with service delivery so I can focus on sales and marketing. Like at that 10K level, you're trading your time for money, and ideally you have a VA to help you with some of the more labor-intensive tasks. And then to get to 10K to 50K, you have to start working with people. At the start, you don't have to work with people full-time. I recommend just working with freelancers and then just make sure that, like Adam mentioned earlier, make sure that you're still gonna make money at that. If you're gonna make 5-10% margins, it's not worth it. You need to charge more. So make sure that you're still able to make money and that there's you're still making 40-50% margins here. Otherwise, it's not going to be worth it. Because when you grow even more, you're going to have to add leadership, you're going to have to add more staff, there's more expenses, and it's really important that you can still be profitable while you're building a team. And you should focus on buying your time back here and do everything to get the deals closed and in the door, okay? And even follow up people for months or years. There's been some examples where I followed up with people over 20 times over 3 years, and eventually they come back. So if someone has showed an interest before, I always just have a section on Gmail, and I still do this to this day, where I'll just follow up with people, give them education, send them some insights, send them a link to my most recent video or something like that. But it's really important here that at this level, you're just out hunting for deals. That is the most important thing, that you're just trying to connect with everyone, go to different events, and just get sales in the door. Based on churn with an agency, if you're not just hyper focused on sales, your business will decline over time. So just make sure that you're really focused on sales at this level. And then you still need to be overseeing all client delivery, and it's still a bit involved in the day-to-day, because your team is going to require it to keep running, because if you don't, you're probably going to deliver a poor experience. So it's really important to probably spend, I would say, 80% of your time here, focus on sales, focus on marketing, focus on what's going to drive in the business, and maybe spend another 20% on the day-to-day and overseeing your team and making sure that the client delivery is good. And at this stage, we got most of our clients from outreach and networking, and then also partnership and referrals. So you want to focus as you grow. You can then start going into different channels, because there's only so much networking you can do, or only so many partnerships you can have. So then once you get to a certain level, you can start adding in other platforms. But we've got to where we are today, and I've never really posted on social media. I've never had a video go viral. I've never posted on Instagram for my business or personally. I don't really have a personal brand. So like, even though like that's Adam's strategy and that definitely works and it's probably working for a lot of people, you don't have to do it. You can build a multi-7-figure-a-year business from just one of these channels. You just have to find out what's going to work for you. And for us, we were testing different ones. Generally with outreach, we weren't getting the best quality clients, but we were getting clients. Networking is more of a long-term play, and then partnership and referrals is the same. It's a slow burner, but you can get one really good referral partner that can give you a lot of business. Like I think right now we have one referral partner who's probably referred over like 300K in work. So if you find them, they will give you a lot of business and it will compound. And then, like I said, going through this quickly, but the next is how to break past 80K, 100K, 150K and beyond. And I know this might not be, a lot of you guys might think that this is unrealistic, but in a few short years you could be here. And I truly believe that there will be people here that will be, at this stage in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and maybe a little bit further. So here you need to focus on building a leadership team and take full responsibility. So let them build out the teams, if that's sales, if that's marketing, if that's client delivery. You need to build leadership teams here, and you need to have people on your team that you can trust with absolutely everything. And focus on culture. I know you said you don't like culture, but focus on culture and building an amazing vision, mission, and values. That's something that we're focused on. And it can be hard to do because you're competing with some of these massive companies. But at the end of the day, like, people have to spend 8 hours a day working with some sort of company. So you want to make sure that your company is the one. If not, they'll probably go to someone else and get better, perks or bonuses or whatever it is. And I would say that hiring becomes your most important task here, as an agency is like 80% people. Obviously you can leverage AI, you can leverage systems, but for us, for example, hiring is just the most important. Like if we can get an absolute killer, they will just do double, triple the work as other people. And for us now, we're hiring very quickly and we're firing very quickly. Like I think we've probably hired 5 people in the last month, and we probably fired 3 of them straight away because they're like, not a good fit. We need A players in here, and then we move on to trying to find someone else. And ideally here, this is something else I've been thinking about. If you have like any bottleneck in the business, try and like solve that problem so it won't come back for another year. Because what a lot of people do, and this has happened to me a lot, where I'll solve a problem, but then like a week later, a month later, the issue will come up again, and it'll come up again, and it'll come up again. I keep getting dragged in to solve it. So the next time you have a problem, and for us this is hiring right now, like try and figure out how can I solve this problem and spend weeks or months solving this problem so it will never show up again, or it won't show up again for a year or 2 years or something like that. Okay, when you're starting to think like this, you think differently. And this is why it's important as well at this level, or even where you're at now, to have like maker and manager days. So have a certain amount of days where you're focused on taking calls or doing communication, and then have days where you have nothing on your calendar, just focus on driving the business forward. I've been doing this over the last few months and it's been very, very helpful. And also just charge a lot more. As demand increases, keep raising your prices and go after the big clients. Like for us, as we're coming into Q4 now, we're getting busy. We can't hire quick enough, and we're trying to figure out like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stop taking on clients? And I voice noted a friend yesterday, and he just said, just charge way more money. So just like double our monthly recurring for Q4 and see will clients still come on with us. If not, we can lower it a bit more. Maybe it's 50% more, but just charge more as demand increases. It's so important. And it can be scary to do, but as you go, let's say you're charging 2K a month, the next thing you charge 4 and you get that, and then you're just making double the money. So it's really, really important to charge more. And now we often have clients pay us over 15 grand a month, and now we're trying to figure out like, how can we get even more out of that? So what I'm thinking about now is like, I'd say our average retainer is probably like 5 to 6 grand now. But I'm thinking like, how can we get someone to pay us 60 grand? How can we get someone to pay us 80 grand a year? And I was chatting with a mentor recently who's, they're charging some of their clients 50K a month inside of their agency. So I'm like, how can we get those enterprise clients that can pay us that much? And when you start thinking like this, you start thinking, a lot differently. And once again, it all comes down to belief, the environment and who you surround yourself with. Like if I didn't have that mentor, if I didn't have other people that I look up to who are, getting 100K retainers, 80K retainers, I'd probably just keep charging 5, 6, 7, 8 grand. But I'm like, how can we get 100 grand from a client a month? Because if you just look at these businesses, and we're obviously in the e-commerce niche, there's businesses that are making, hundreds of millions every single month. We only want 100K of that. And it's all just a mindset. And if you don't shift that mindset, and you don't have that belief, we'll be charging 5 grand a month forever. So it's really, really important to shift that so you have the belief. And then the next thing, I'll just quickly talk about money, investing, and long-term goals. And I've actually learned a lot from Adam on this. I don't know if Adam speaks about it, but Adam is very shrewd when it comes to his money, investing, and he's super smart with it. But I'm going to share, I think there's just 3 lessons here. So at the start, build a fat war chest. Okay, so a war chest is just cash in the bank, and take as little out of the business as possible. And then, because what's going to happen, you're going to go through up and down periods, and having cash in the bank will give you confidence to push through and take more risks. And I made another video about this, but it's so important that you have that money in the bank. And you know, for you, it might be having €1,000, €10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, even more, right? It all depends on what your runway is, but having cash in the bank is just so important. And then once you have about 6 months plus of runway, and runway is basically just how much does it cost to run your business right now? For some of you guys, it might be very little. As you grow, it's definitely going to be more and more. So once you have 6 months of runway and you have a nice cash reserve, keep your living expenses the same. Don't ball out. Don't go live the lavish lifestyle, and just invest the difference, okay? Because in this game as an entrepreneur, we don't get paid for sick leave. We don't get paid for holidays. We don't have a pension. So we have to create our own, and you need to be investing your money now. So play it smart and think, what would your 60-year-old self, what would they want you to do? So for me, I probably didn't do this early enough. I would also recommend that, you know, if you can move to a country that you can pay less personal tax, you'll save a lot here as well. So for me, I probably waited a little bit too long before doing that. But it's really important that as you earn more, that you're investing more, because we don't have a pension. Obviously, you can create your own, but I would definitely recommend finding out where you want to put your money, if that's real estate, if that's Bitcoin, if that's the S&P, if that's gold, if that's investing in businesses, whatever it is. I think the whole point of all of this is having freedom, and you know, it's really important that you can have freedom forever and not just while you're working in your 20s or 30s or 40s. And then I would say the only exception to this is when you hit a goal, or you make sure that you reward yourself. Experience luxury, and this doesn't have to be for you. This can be for your team. This can be for your family, your partner. And when you attach this to your goals, you'll then, you know, create this like reward system, and like it becomes an addiction really. And I do this all the time. Like one of our team members has now been with us for 2 years, and I just bought him a watch from one of our clients that's worth like thousands. So it's really important that like when you hit a goal or when something happens, that you give that, you know, you treat someone to something, to yourself or whatever it is. But this is really, really important. And then I have one ask and one gift, and then we'll do Q&A. So the ask that I have is, if anyone is not subscribed to me on YouTube, please subscribe. I'm on 340 subscribers now. I've been doing weekly videos for the year. So if you are not subscribed, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe. And then also I have a gift. So I'm sure everyone knows who this is. And he done a webinar a couple of weeks ago and done 100 million in sales. And I was one of the few, or one of the many, who bought his $5,000 upsell. So I have 199 books to give away. So if anyone wants one for free, let me know and I'll send you the link. Or I'll send it to Adam and he can give it to everyone. Okay. And then Q&A. I'd really like to figure out where people are at, go through their problems, and really try and help solve their current problems. So if anyone has any questions, let me know.
How do you make your proposal attractive enough to referral clients? So for me, specifically in the food trailer, like there's a lot of people who do event organising, and the high ticket sales with the food trailer is catering. I'm trying to get a lot of catering bookings. I've reached out to every wedding planner, every event planner, and answer I'd say, but I haven't got the return I was expecting on the outreach I've done. Like I was offering 10% of whatever the booking fee was, but I don't know if it's just because it's in Ireland where people aren't motivated by the money to make it happen.
So you're offering 10% right now? And what's the deal size?
On average, they're about €2,000.
Okay, yeah, not bad. And would this be to them personally or to their business?
I was doing it to the business. I could do it to them personally.
Yeah, I would say try and do it to them personally. Like for us, it depends on the partnership, but generally we'll do like 15% recurring for life. So like some of our referral partners, we've paid, you know, tens of thousands. Like we probably pay over 10 grand a month now on referral fees. So I would just say like make it better. Like a lot of the softwares that we're partnered with, because it's coming into Q4, they're offering us like a pay in full. So there's one software now that if we get any of our clients signed up to the software, they'll give us £1,000 in cash. So they'll wire us £1,000. So straight away I was like, oh shit, let's send this to a couple of clients. We send this to 5 clients, it's just 5 grand straight away. Like that incentive made me want to go and like actually ask clients like, hey, we got this software. We tell them like they've got an offer, we get rewarded for it. If you get signed up, like, you know, we get some money. So like, here's the link, here's the benefit of it, this, that, and the other. So I'd say just try and make it better. Like if you switched around the 10% to, hey, we'll give you 250 quid cash or we'll send it to your Revolut account tomorrow. If you refer us deals, they'll be like, oh wow, because then they're thinking like, what can that 250 quid get them? Like they can treat someone in their family to something, they can go out for dinner, they can buy themselves something new, compared to like 200 quid to a business, a hotel is just absolutely nothing. They wouldn't even see it land in their bank account, you know? So I think it's important to like try and make it personally. And like, if they bring in the business, their boss is going to be happy anyways, you know? So I think trying to like, hey, like I'll send it to you on Revolut, you know, or give it to you on cash or whatever it is. Yep.
So when going from 0 to 10K, you mentioned that it's just good as you is if you are yourself and a VA.
Yep.
What would be the VA task?
So basically anything that is very, very repetitive, that's like taking a lot of time that you don't want to do.
Like scheduling posts or...
Yeah, I would say it's more around like if you're doing outreach, you know, stuff like that. If it's tracking stuff, if you're trying to like pull leads, it's basically like anything, like any task that can just be done over and over and over again that doesn't require that much skill, then I would have a VA do it. Yeah, so just like, and you have to go through, like you can audit your time. So figure out like every day, what do you spend your time on? And then like you can rank it on like, you know, how important it is. And then stuff that isn't as important, then you can just get the VA to do it. Like I've recently got like an EA now, like an assistant to help me with loads of stuff. And it helps a lot because now I'm like, even personal stuff, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just focused on work, and it's a game changer. So just anything that you don't want to do, just give it to them. And as long as you make clear instructions, it's very easy for them to do it. Like really, really easy. Yep.
How do you take away your self-limited belief when you reach a certain revenue point? For me, to give you context, I have 4 clients on an average container of 250. I've been currently hiring a few graphic designer, a videographer, and I'm onboarding the 2 clients. So in terms of like scaling up, you mentioned having a VA. In terms of like, if I do get a VA, my profit margin will be, I think, roughly around, let's say 60 to 70%. So with the current situation, what would your advice be in terms of like scaling up? As well, you mentioned that 80% should be focused on sales and marketing. I feel like 60% of my time is being focusing on onboarding the client, focusing on the strategy. So just in regards to like the situation I'm at.
Yeah, I would say like your margins obviously seem pretty good, but what service are you offering?
Social media management and content.
Yeah, I think you can definitely charge more, like 100%. Like I know Adam, what's the girl's name from the US in your program? Amanda. Like Amanda was charging like 7 grand a month for social media or something, you know, or she done consulting for that much. So like, it's just really important to, you know, push more, charge more, and then you'll want to deliver a better service because you'll have more money to play around with. And like it just comes down to the belief, you know, like it's not impossible. Amanda can charge 5K, 6K, 7K, you know, we can charge, some clients have paid us over 15K a month, and it's like, it just comes down to the belief and the confidence to do it. And you have to make sure you're obviously delivering the results. But if you're getting good results from clients, it's like, oh, the next person that comes on, I'm going to charge 500 and I'm going to, you know, pump even more resources into it, because at like 250, it might be really hard for you to like deliver a really good service. So you're like, oh, it's not even worth it after like, even after transaction fees, after paying for softwares, after paying for stuff. It's like, you know, the margins will shrink, especially as you grow and you have 10 clients, 20 clients. So I would say just, you know, like that work on the mindset, surround yourself with more people and people that are charging more, or just even become aware of it. Like sometimes it's not even about surrounding yourself, it's just like until recently, I didn't even know that agencies were charging like 100K retainers. I didn't know it was even possible. And then when I found out, I'm like, oh, you can do that? Like there's these enterprise businesses that don't do everything in-house. I'm like, how do we get those deals, you know? So it's just like this mindset shift. And, you know, even after this, you can just go home and say, okay, from now on, I'm gonna do 500. And then I guarantee you, you'll say 500 on a call versus 250, and they'll be like, yep. And you'll be like, oh, the next time you're like 750, and they're like, yep. And you're like, oh, and then before you know it, you'll be at 1,000.
So in terms of the clients I have on, would I just keep them on?
Yeah, like it's, we just leave clients on what they're on. Sometimes we've like changed the structure. If it's like super low, we will mention like, hey, this isn't worth it anymore. But most of the time, like, you know, they were with us in the early days. We leave them on the good pricing.
Right, and then I feel with like for clients on, I feel like my time will be spent in service deliverables. So would you think in the approach of me getting that 500 client, would you think it's worth getting a VA?
Yeah, I think it's always worth getting a VA. And like you can get one part-time at the start, you can get one to do a couple of hours a week. Like there's no shortage of people that want more work. So, and obviously you can pay a lot less, or you can, it really depends on what you're looking for. But like just because you're getting a VA doesn't mean you need to get them full time in-house. You can just get someone like, hey, I need someone to help me with like 1 hour a day. And then that's getting you 1 hour back that you can focus on the client.
Perfect, thanks.
Yep.
You were saying there that you went to an event, and when you came back you decided to leave your 9-to-5 job. What was the thought process behind that? I'm kind of in a similar situation now. We're kind of at that.
Yeah, so I would always say like don't leap until you've spotted your landing. So like make sure that you can see it and you have something already. And I think for me, I talked about it and I asked Ty that question. Like he said, there's two things you can do. You can just risk it and jump, or you can like build up enough cash for like a year's worth of living or 6 months and then like play it safe. Both work. For me, I think I had like 90 days of like living expenses, and I just like, it was because I was in LA. I went to Grant's thing in Miami. 6 months later, we went back to Ty's event in LA. We were surrounded by like loads of people that were just making so much money, and I was just like, I'm not going back to work anymore. I'm not doing it. And for me, that was just a shift then. I was just like, I just worked it out in my head and convinced myself, and I was like, I'm just going to do it now. So, and like after that, there was periods of like, I was like, oh, did I make the wrong decision here? And it wasn't like I was making like a bunch of money. I wasn't at all. It was like very up and down. And like there was points where I went back to having no money in my bank, and I went back to like not having anything and not being able to pay subscriptions or pay for my phone bill. And like that happened. But like every day you just keep pushing and you just get through it. So it all depends on like, you know, are you able for the stress of it? And like, do you have people that you have to support or whatever? So like everyone's situation is different, but you'll know when it's the right time. And you just got to go with it. Like worst case scenario, you just go and, you know, you go back to the job where you get another one. But you'll get like so much time back. That's the thing when you first leave your job, you go from like barely being able to have 6 hours in a day or through like 4 hours in a day, and you're like sleep deprived and stuff like that. And then when you're able to get like a full night's sleep and have all day to work on stuff, like you wouldn't believe how much you can get done.
Yeah, well, I suppose that kind of makes sense. Doing nights, and that's something I have.
Yeah.
It's tiredness sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, like I sleep 8 hours every night, like every single night. Like I really prioritize my sleep. I've just been going to bed way earlier now, but it's like I get 8 hours all the time. Like I don't really sacrifice sleep at all. I used to, like back when I first started, I'd sleep like 4, 5, 6 hours a day, but I had to then. But now like I'm getting 8 hours every single night. Like it's really, really important. Because if you're sleep deprived, you can't make good decisions. And I just think maybe some people are different, but for me, it's really important to sleep more. Yep.
So going back to the 10K mark, why does it make sense to do all the deliverables yourself?
Yeah.
Maybe hire some video editor or graphic designer and focus more on sales.
Yeah, so I think it's important to become an expert at the thing, because then you can hire people and then you understand the thing. Like if you were to build a dev agency, like where you're building stuff through code, if you don't understand the code, it's kind of hard to hire people to do the code because you don't understand it, right? It's like if you had a business teaching some sort of language and you're trying to like hire people and figure out if they're good at speaking that language, like you're not going to know. So, and you can do it the other way. I just didn't. So like that's it. And you can 100% do it. And loads of people probably have. But for me, the way I done it was just becoming an expert at the thing, because then I have so much confidence when I'm on sales calls, when I'm chatting to people, that like we're experts at this, you know. And now actually we position it that like our team is better than me at it because they spend more time doing it. But yeah, I think it's important that you have a really good understanding of it. And if you have a good understanding of it, then you can also hire people to outsource it, you know. Yeah, so you just need a good understanding. I'll just go back.
Yeah, so the business is doing like 7-8K at the moment.
Well done.
I'm trying to scale up for the last like 2 months, like mostly focusing on Facebook ads for home improvement. So like we have the lead flow solid, like we're running Facebook ads, we're getting good leads from that. So what I'm currently doing is I'm running a trial, like for 2 weeks, we book them appointments and then converting them onto a retainer. But where I'm spending so much time is trying to convert them then onto a retainer. Some of them have paid straight away, but you know, it's just like there's probably 4 or 5K there sitting to convert. So I'm trying to figure out how to like make that more efficient, really.
Yeah, because the thing is, if people do things for free and then you do it and then you pull it away, they don't value as much. So I would say like it could be more of a sales thing there, where you're just, because it's very possible to get people to pay up front. Maybe it's just that they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. So I'd say if you can like build more rapport there, and then you'd be able to like sell them. Or you can do like, hey, there's 2 ways to do this. You can pay us like $2,000 a month, or we can do a free trial. But after that, then it's like $3,000 a month because we're doing the free trial. So I would like, for an agency, I think the whole free trial thing is probably tough to crack. Like, I don't know anyone doing a free trial with an agency. I know it is different, but for like coaching or for a software, it makes sense because it doesn't really cost you much. But I think like for agency, the onboarding part is like the most work. And it's like it's something that you're not getting paid for then. And it's like really not rewarding then because you're not getting paid for it. And it's like harder to convert them. So I'd say like after people book calls, just like send a bunch of emails, like make sure there's loads of social proof there, show case studies. And then just like have like a, 2 call close, then have a discovery call and then push them to another call. And I would say just test it, like the free trial, obviously it can work, but I just think in agency, you're probably just spending so much time and resources. And once you know you can get the results, then you just become more confident. So I would say just try and, like, I'm sure you have tried before, like to get people to pay up front, but that's what I would do. Like I would never do free trial. I know in our business model, it would just take so much work and it would just be really hard to crack.
Turning it around pretty quickly and getting leads pretty quickly, but it's then just converting them onto the retainer that's taking the time. But yeah, I haven't tested out.
Are you collecting their card info up front before they?
Yeah, they're paying for the card. We're attached it to the ad account.
But what I would do is I'd get them to sign a thing, and I would have a 14-day auto bill. So they sign up, they get the free trial, but you have their card details and Stripe. After 14 days, it just automatically comes out. Because then there's no conversation.
Yeah, fair. It's just set up that way.
Yeah, so like we do 14 days for free. If you want to cancel, you need to give 72 hours notice. Other than that, it rebuilds. And when they're seeing the good results, then like they'll just let it come true. Because it's not like you have to have another conversation with them then. It's like, oh no, you don't get charged anything like when you sign up. Then you just build them then, because then you don't have to have a conversation, you don't have to do nothing, it's just going to come out. And then when it comes out, then you just have it in your terms of service. Like you knew you had to cancel 3 days before, you didn't, we're getting you results. Let's do this for 30 more days. If it doesn't work, I can give you a partial refund or I can do whatever. And I'd say if you'd done it that way, you'd be able to crack that model as long as your onboarding doesn't take too much. But just like ask the hard questions now so you don't have to go through them later. So if you just get the credit card details up front and then just like run it. And have it auto. Don't you manually do it because you won't want to. Just have it auto, and then like you'll just look at your Stripe and you'll be like, oh, that went through. Nice,
And yeah, that makes sense actually, because I'm just spending so much time on the phone. Chasing them. So
yeah, and just make sure you do the subscribe one on Stripe, because now I think they've changed it where you can't like bill certain countries on if they just opt into like a manual thing. So you have to set up as a subscription. So yeah. Any other questions?
Question from the group. Mindset books you would recommend.
Like, the best for me is the Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. I think it's like the Bible. That's really good. And then like the classic Think and Grow Rich. But I think for mindset as well, the best books are biographies, so you can like see how these billionaires operate. So for me, I've read like a lot of the billionaire biographies because you just like, you get to see their mindset and how they done it, and like there's common trends between them all. So yeah, I'd say like go read Sam Walton's biography, go read both of Richard Branson's, Ray Kroc's, Elon's, Bezos's, Steve Jobs. Like go read all them. They're like the best mindset ones, and they're like educational. They're funny. Like they're, you know, some of these mindset books can be really hard to read. They're like, you know, difficult to get through. But the biographies are probably what impacted me the most.
How do you motivate yourself after you reach a certain milestone? Like you said, once you reach 10K, don't stop. But it always seems like once you reach that goal, you kind of get complacent with that figure. So how do you like revamp yourself to that next milestone? 15K, 20K, 20K, 50K, 50K, 100K, 100K.
I don't know. I just can't help myself. It's just like before I've even hit it, I want to do the next thing. It's just like an addiction, really. I'm just like, I want it. Like, and it's the same with everything, really. Now I'm like, I was chatting with Adam. I was speaking with someone that I'd done my Ironman like 70.3 with. I bumped into him in Costa as well the other day, and now I'm like, oh, I want to do something tough again physically, you know. So I'm like looking at 100K races, and I'm like, I shouldn't do it, but I want to do it. I want to do something that scares me, that I'm like, I know it's going to be really difficult and it's really going to push me mentally. So like, I'm always just looking for more, you know. And there will come a point in time where I want to definitely stop. Like, I don't want to do this forever, but like for now, it's like this is the period that I'm in. I think like as I get older, probably family, work less, enjoy life more. But for now, it's just working, you know. Any other, yeah.
So you mentioned about hiring an EA. Is that only recently you
Yeah.
that? Okay, and how's that been since you've done that?
Well, I had a weird experience because I hired someone, and like after like 2 months, she told me she was 9 months pregnant, which is really weird. So, you know, she didn't mention that, and she had access to my banks. She had access to like everything in the business. So like, if she didn't tell me that, I didn't trust her. So I've hired my girlfriend now, which is like perfect because she can also help with things personally, and like, you know, if it's like just running errands around, it's just much easier. So yeah, that's what I've done. But it's been really, really good. But my biggest thing is like, you just need to make sure that you're investing time to give them the tasks, and like just get them to like just model everything, like have a look at everything you're doing and try and get them to like take the plates off your task. But like, it's really, really good.
Was a large part of that of them observing your day, and then so you're
Yeah.
SOP'd it up before essentially they start?
Yeah, and just kind of like doing stuff on calls and being like, I'll do this, do that. And it can take time, but once you obviously hand it off, then you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, at the start, it is definitely like a time investment that you have to do, but otherwise you're just gonna have to do those tasks over and over and over again. Like some examples are, like a big one for me was just like all of the billing stuff, like team pay, like all of the billing, all the invoicing, accounting. And like we had bookkeepers and we had that, but like all of the client billing stuff was like things that only I really understood, only I had context on, and we couldn't get anyone in the team to do it. So like stuff like that was really, really beneficial, where they can just see everything, you trust them, they can send money, they have access to your banks, they can just do everything, you know, they have access to all of your emails, personal and professional. Like the difference is with a VA and an EA is like access to everything personally, you know, so like you trust them with everything. And then even if it's something small, booking flights, doing whatever, like it's these small little things that just take up time and energy, and it's just like mental bandwidth that you don't want to deal with. And it's like they can just do all of that. So then all you have to do is just like look at your calendar and then just like do the work, really.
And does she set your day up for you? As in like you've got calls, you've got everything?
Yeah, so like I have most of it, like my calendar is just kind of like recurring, really. And then like obviously she'll add things into it and I'll add stuff into it, but it's pretty much recurring. But yeah, like an EA should definitely control your calendar, your inbox, and like, so I don't really look at my emails now anymore. Obviously I'm in a bit of a habit of looking at it because I've been doing it for so long, but it'll just in Slack would be like, oh, reply to this, or like, what should I say here? And then I'm just like in Slack rather than in emails or like on different platforms and stuff like that. So I think for yourself, it could be a big, big shift. And like you can start part-time, same again, but you definitely want to work with someone that has experience, I'd say. Like, yeah. But it's hard to find good people. It's like literally the hardest thing ever.
I just to finish quickly, I was on a journey on this like last 2 weeks of digging through applicants, interviews, because I really wanted to see the advantage of this and get the time back. And so she's starting on the 1st, and she's well-rounded, very personal, like it's easy to talk to, likable, like, and Yeah, all of the above, so fingers crossed for
Yeah.
next month, but I just want to see what that experience
I would say just if you don't do much calls, just like get on a Zoom call and like just have her like monitor what you do all day, and then just constantly be chatting to her, and like just those first couple of weeks try and really be like, oh, do this, do this, do this. But like to give you a heads up, like access is the biggest pain. So like access, like you wouldn't believe the amount of stuff you have to give access to, like apps upon apps upon apps, softwares, banks, emails, connecting stuff up. So just like make a big list and day one, just give access to everything and have complete trust. Like in banks, obviously, like they have to approve payments or whatever, but like just like show them everything, show them the bad, show them the good, and then let them deal with it, you know. But like, don't be like, oh, I'll give access to this today, access to this tomorrow. Like just give access to everything. Because like otherwise you're just gonna be like, oh, I need access to this, I can't see this, I can't see that, you know. And you'll like uncover loads of stuff about your business as well. Like it was really helpful for me.
How do you handle pressure? Say if you have pressure to meet up deliverables, say you're losing clients, say things are not going your way. How do you handle pressure? Like how do you handle through hard times? I know Adam mentioned he does like a brain dump. That's
Yeah.
one of his techniques. Do you have any techniques that you use?
Yeah, like it's tough. Journaling definitely does help. I'm journaling a lot more. Someone bought me a nice journaling pen for my birthday, so I thought that as a sign to journal more, which I've been doing. Like on my rest days from the gym, I'll just go journal now, like spend like an hour thinking and journaling, so that really helps. But also like the problem isn't gonna go away, so what I've been trying to do now, and it's tough, is just to like, if you see that shitty message come through, if you see that like thing come true, and for me now it's like, it happens all the time. Like even yesterday, I spent some time with my family, like, because I'm going back to Spain tomorrow. And like, I was away from my phone or laptop for like 4 hours, and like, I had like 80 something Slack messages, you know, and like, I cleared them today when I came in here, but there's like so many issues I had to deal with, and I want to just push it back till Monday, but I just need to like get it done now, because it's not really going to go away. Because like only, you know, as the business owner, you're only really going to get the issues. Like no one, like obviously some teams, like the team will solve a lot of them, but like the big things will get brought up and I'm like, oh damn, I just have to solve it, you know? So like you just have to have the hard conversation. Like we had something with a client the other day where one of our internal projects got archived and some of the tasks basically got disappeared, and we didn't spot it, and then like things weren't assigned, and like the client booked in a call because like things were behind, and I had to like just, you know, handle it head on straight away and just deal with it, you know? Like the last thing I wanted to do was deal with that, but you just have to do it because there's no other way. Like it's just gonna get worse otherwise. So just like solving the problem straight away will just like, once it's done, then you'll be like, oh, thank God I done that. So, and like when I was at my last, another mastermind in Miami, this guy, Sean, he told me like he loves problems. Like he gets excited for them. Like he gets like hyped up. And I'm like, damn, maybe I need to take that energy. So like recently I've just been like, as soon as a problem comes in, just trying to like drop everything and just solve it, get it done, and like look at it as excitement, because that's what you have to do to push past it. Like if our competitors are like, you know, looking forward to problems and excited about them versus you dreading them, like they're just gonna wipe you out, you know what I mean? So just like get excited the next time you see a problem, being like, fuck yeah, this is why I do this shit, you know?
You just said there one of your projects was archived. Other than Slack, what project management tools do you use to manage?
We do everything in Asana, and I've been using it now since I first started, so for like 8 years now. But it's come on so much. ClickUp is probably a better platform, but Asana is so good. Now with the Asana AI, it's absolute gangster. Like we've invested so much into it, and we just have everything. Like after reading actually Henry Ford's book, I got so inspired to like build out like a lot of automations in Asana, and it's just like paid dividends. It does break now from time to time. I have to go in and fix it and stuff like that, but it's like, it's really powerful. But Asana is not the thing, it's like what you build inside of that. So like Asana, ClickUp, Monday, Notion. Well, I think Notion's not really a project management, it's more of like a wiki, but like, yeah, I think you just need to like really invest in it and build it out.
And you think that works more for you because a lot of what you do is kind of, let's say, productized, that's kind of a similar workflow for each client, I imagine? Yeah,
because like, now we output over 1,000 emails a month, so it's like, it's hard to, and a lot of that has to be like planned, there has to be copy done, there has to be design done, it has to get added, it has to get approved, it has to get scheduled. So like, we can't just do that ad hoc, we need a system to it. So for us, we just like had no other solution. We had to build something that was like an assembly line. So Yeah, but it depends on the business, you know, like, but I do think it's important to have, like, for agency anyways, that you have some sort of CRM where, like, you have a project for every client and it's, like, templated. So then, like, when you hire new people as well, like, everything's the same. Every client has a project and here's the main dashboard and, like, here's the tasks. Like, another thing that we're pushing everyone to do now is, like, we also do, like, monthly or weekly updates on a project. We call them status updates. But yeah, it's just so important that you can see everything from a high level overview. And, like, if anything is mentioned in Slack to, like, oh yeah, we should do this, we should do that, just make sure it gets added to Asana. So then it's, like, tracked, it's dated, and it has a time to it, and it's tagged and assigned to someone with a deadline, because then it has, like, accountability on the back end of it. Because otherwise it's like, oh hey, Stephen, will you do this? Yeah, sure. And then it's like, okay, when is it due? Like, how important is it? So now it's like, do this, yes, okay, here's the link, or you can just set up an automation where it'll just highlight it, tag them in Slack, and it will just automate, and then it's, like, on their board. So for us, like, Asana is really important.
And then in terms of the deliverables that you do with your email, everything's Klaviyo.
Yeah. But that's just because of our industry. Like, if we were, you know, like, helping fitness coaches, we'd probably use ActiveCampaign, but, like, yeah, Klaviyo is, like, e-commerce based, so it's all Klaviyo. And then we only use Slack, Asana, and then Figma for design. Like, we don't really use any other tech, really. We try and maximize what we have and just keep it lean. But another hack as well on, like, any CRM platform, if you just use a secondary domain, you'll get your billing really cheap. So, like, we pay $60 a month now. It should be like $600. But because we use a secondary domain and add everyone else's guests, it's a hack. And you can do it with Asana, you can do it with Monday, you can do it with most platforms. It's pretty sick.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah.
So I know you said in your presentation, go to events.
Yep.
How do you pick out which events to go to? You know, so I was looking at, like, say, other events before. They all seem like just more, like, high level from what I'm at. But yeah, I was just wondering how, like, where do you find them, or is that just your word of mouth, or what?
Yeah, I wouldn't put that label, like that comes down to the belief there. Like, so you're putting other people on a pedestal. I would, like, you want to be worthy of going to these events, and, like, you'll go to them, and at the start, and you might feel, like, uncomfortable at them. Like, I remember when I went to some, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be here now and whatever. But you just got to, like, chat with people. But it's just like anything in your industry. So, like, every industry has software. So, like, even just go to software events, or, like, try and go to different masterminds. Like, generally, there's just going to be masterminds you'll have to pay for. There'll be, like, software events, and then there'll be, like, more networking events, or there'll be, like, speaking events as well that are more like speaker events, are like more, there's a lot more people and it's just more at the masses. So I would just, like, look them up, just spend time Googling them. Like, this year I've been to so many. We went to, like, a software event, been to a lot of masterminds, been to, like, different ones in our industry that are, like, just e-commerce related, but they're not directly related to what we do. So for us, for example, in e-commerce, because we obviously all of our clients do e-commerce, but we're an agency, so we could go to e-commerce events to, like, gain knowledge for our clients, or, like, the industry knowledge. We could also go to agency events so we can gain insight how to grow our agency, or we can go to the software events just that we use in general and connect with people. Or then you can obviously go to, like, masterminds, but they normally come with a bigger expense. But it's an excuse to travel as well. You get it as a business expense as well. But I go to a lot of them, like, sometimes with friends, sometimes on my own. But, like, you know, it's better when you go with people. But yeah, don't be afraid to go by yourself as well.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? I really enjoy the Q&A.
We need to
all right.
go on. Yeah,
Sweet.
good job.
Appreciate it, everyone.
Great, thanks.